Let me introduce to you people on the Tommy Sandhu podcast, Mr. Aatif Nawaz. This guy is, he's a stand-up comedian. He's hilarious. He's a hilarious stand-up comedian. He's gigging all over the country. I'm sure people have seen him, in fact, all over the world. He's got stories for days. Me and Aatif have spent many a session on a train or backstage at a comedy gig, and there is so much to this guy, and I hope this won't be the first time and last time he's on the podcast. So you're going to hear from him in the future. He's a true friend and a lovely man. He's a BBC broadcaster covering all the cricket action. He loves cricket, loves Team Pakistan, but also knows so much about Team India as well. And he's here just to have a little chit chat. In fact, I think I've even got to wake him up. Here is Aatif Nawaz. Hey.
Hey, bro.
Were you just rubbing a little bit of gid out the eyes? Was that a little bit of gid?
I'm not gonna lie, bro. I literally woke up 3 seconds ago.
I love you. That's the life of a comedian. That's how we wrote. It's like last minute. You can push Aatif on stage, and that's it. It's game time. But listen, I want you to know in this moment that don't worry. I understand. Now, what I mean by that is there are some people that when you wake up who do your setting, they will start talking at you. Like my wife, like she first thing in the morning, straight away, there's a list of things. You got to do this, 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 this. I'm not going to do that to you. Firstly, I'm going to ask you, how did you sleep better? Are you okay?
You know what, Tommy? I've got so much going on, man. Like, there's always something. Like, it's not. I don't think I've had a full day off in like maybe 6 months. There's always something, and I'm always thinking about it. And it's just it's fine. Like eventually I fall asleep, but I'm always kind of just thinking. So I feel good.
I'm sorry. I'm seem to have some interference. It seems to think that you think you're Western because wanting a day off. Hold on, there's something wrong with Aatif's line here because he's talking like a Westerner. He's talking like he's being ungrateful for the work, Aatif Nawaz. Come on, you're working. You're doing everything you wanted to do. You're doing stand-up, you're doing cricket commentary. You're out on the scene. People love you. You're making videos, making sketches. You're going viral. People are sending me videos of my friend Aatif Nawaz kind of going, look how funny this sketch is. And I'm like, he's my mate. Then I look like that desperate guy in the message. Oh, I know him. Oh, yeah, we've done comedy nights together. I'm that guy about Aatif Nawaz right now. But in all seriousness, this is what you wanted. This is the dream, is it not?
It is the dream. I'm really happy. Don't get me wrong. It just means that I have to accept that rubbing gid out of my eyes while I'm on a stream is just something I have to accept as part of my life now. So
you have the Giddi Adi Rani. Can you be the Giddi Adi Pakistani?
Oh, that's good. That's so good.
Giddi Adi Pakistani, Giddi Vichya, Giddi Adi Pakistani, Giddi Vichya.
I like it.
Sticky Gidda to Nikal. I don't know, maybe some sort of Gid song. Do you call it Gid as well? Because that's quite I don't know if is that Punjabi Urdu word? Gid?
I don't know what it is, but it's great and I'm taking it.
Gid is eye gunk. It's eye bogies.
I gathered that from context, to be fair, but it's not like a day-to-day word. It's not like I'm on the tube like pointing out people. Sorry, excuse me, mate, you got some gid in your eye. Like I'm not really. Yeah. I've not done that on a regular basis.
I always thought the famous line from the film was "Here's looking at you, Gid," but it's not. It's so you live a little. Hey, listen. Why were you out late last night? Is that why you're? It's 10 o'clock in the morning now. Why are you just waking up now? Or is this normal time for you?
But this is pretty normal for you. I'm not gonna lie. It's very rare for me to wake up early. I mean, I know you did like a breakfast show for most of your life, right? So you're used to waking up early. I decided to be a stand-up comedian, Tommy, so I would never have to wake up before noon, ideally. I like to work. I like to wake up late so I can be at my best in the late evening. But well, actually, to be fair, recently with the cricket and all that kind of stuff, I have had to wake up a little bit early. But yeah, it's fine. I'm one of those people that can just wake up. Like I remember meeting Michael McIntyre. I was doing a gig with Michael McIntyre a few years ago, and I remember like we were met up for breakfast in the morning. Now, when I meet up for breakfast, I've usually, when you wake up in the morning, it takes you a little while to get there. Like So, okay, एक second, हाँ मैं ठीक हूँ. Like just gotta like
Yeah.
thaw myself out or whatever. But Michael McIntyre wakes up like this, and he wakes up like the minute his eyes open, he's awake. He's Michael McIntyre. He's ready to go. I thought, you know what? That's what I want to be, and I try and take that in. So the minute I wake up, and it often happens with radio calls. So people would, whoever wants to have me on some radio station to talk about God knows what early in the morning, I got to wake up and within 3 seconds, I got to be awake and entertaining. And sometimes my voice will give me away, but generally I can do it. I can just be like, I'm ready.
Yeah, but you're right. The voice will go a little bit 13-year-old schoolboy and go, "Hi, everybody." Yeah, you okay? Yeah, I'm good. Good. No, I'm fine. Or for me, it's puffy eyes. People will know. Kind of go, "What's wrong with your eye?" My eyes give it away, and my face goes sudgy in the morning. It's a bit swollen. It's like it just hasn't reformed yet. So I'm with you, and that's why what I was really trying to get at was, I think it's important to be gentle. I like that bit of buffer time that you need in the morning. For me, that's in the shower, a bit of quiet time. So I do feel a bit guilty pulling you out of the bed, putting you straight on a mic and a camera and kind of going, let's do the podcast. But I also know that you're capable of it. How were you after Sunday's gig? Because I really, really enjoyed it. Sorry, you look blank because Sunday obviously feels like so many days ago. It was 4 days ago. Aatif and I did a comedy night in Birmingham at the Glee Club. I think that's it. Because of that night now, Glee's gone top of Glee Club Birmingham is my favorite place to do a show. That was just a lovely room. It was you can feel like electricity in the air. Do you know what I mean by that? You can feel there was a buzz around it.
You were amazing, man. I mean, I'm not surprised you remember it so fondly. You were really, really good. I think the crowd loved you. And they always do.
And Anuvab and Kane and all of it. But I'm saying it's not like me. I'm just saying, but because I don't do it regularly, when I did that night, bro, like we took the train, as you know, all the way back to London and all that. Even when I got home, I was awake till about 3-4 o'clock in the morning, like on adrenaline.
That's like, I mean, that's me every night, bro. Like, I mean, it's just like every club, like the Glee Club in Birmingham is a very special venue, and it's like sentimentally very important to me because it's the first outside London venue I did a tour show that sold out, so I was very happy with that room. But I love going back there. But it was really, really good. But as you say, I've done 3 gigs since then, so it does feel like a long time ago. And after a while, these days just blend into each other. I've become one of those days that doesn't. I've become one of those people that doesn't know which day of the week it is. And people are like, "Oh, what are you doing on Tuesday? Oh, well, how was Tuesday?" And you think, "When was Tuesday? Like, What is it today? What's what?" That I've become one of those people. But I did enjoy that. I loved hanging out with you and Anuvab and just catching up and chatting about films and TV and radio and all these things that we have in common. And we don't really get to hang out that much. It's usually quite. Like when you and I meet in particular, it's usually like at an event or like but just before we record something or just before we're about to be on TV or radio or whatever. So it's nice. It was nice just to like have some extended, pure, chill time to just chat, and it was great. I enjoyed that even more than I enjoyed the gig, and the gig was great.
Yeah, the gig was great and all that. But by the way, we were on the slowest train ever. You get the fast train, you get the slow train. This train was stopping in places. I swear at one point it said towns that aren't even in England. I'm like, where are we? Where have we gone via Wales or somewhere else? But it was a long journey back, but it whizzed by because we were all chitter-chatting away. And that's the life of a comedian. You travel, so you're traveling around a lot. You're doing all your cricket stuff as well. And God, is there too much cricket on right now? There's too much. There's too much.
Well, I spoke to Moin Ali a couple of days ago and asked him that question because he's just retired from Test cricket. And he said probably there is. And then we ended up deciding that there's probably too much if you're a player that wants to play all 3 formats of cricket. But if you're a fan, there's never going to be too much. You're always going to want to watch more. You're always going to want more. I mean, you can right now, Tommy, you could watch France play against Switzerland in cricket. That is the time we live in. And I love it. Like I watched all these random European games that came on recently. The European T10 Championship, I think it was. Like I like that there's options in cricket. I like that if there's 6. I like that you could pick between 6 different matches on any given day. Like today in England. You could watch the IPL. You could watch the national T20 in Pakistan. You could watch the European T10. You could watch, the Bob Willis Trophy final. So there's so many options as a cricket fan. It's the best time. It's amazing. I think we just lean into it and enjoy it.
But when you were chatting to Moeen about it, like, and he says, yeah, maybe it is a little bit too much. Were you not a little bit surprised that a young player like him, who's, all eyes on Moeen at the moment, he's doing amazingly, did amazingly in the test as well. You're not a little bit surprised that he's kind of going, I can't, I need to back off from it. What's going on there?
Well, you know what I mean. He announced his retirement from Test cricket this week, and there was a lot of speculation about why. And Moeen's a man of few words, but I was very grateful because when I interviewed him, he spoke to me for a full hour and he gave me a lot of insight, and he wasn't shy about what it was. And I think it's been the last 2 years, Tommy. I think that pandemic, it's made people more introspective generally, just thinking a little bit more about their life and what's important to them, and especially cricket players, because when they want to go and play somewhere, they have to spend time in bio bubbles and quarantine and isolation, and for weeks and weeks and weeks not being able to see anybody. I mean, Moeen had to do it a bunch of times this year with India and Sri Lanka. And New Zealand, and he's just constantly going from bubble to bubble to bubble. So I completely understand that bubble fatigue kicking in. He's decided to focus on things like the IPL and T20 cricket, and I totally understand that. He'll still play T20 cricket for England as well. But I think if you can just take away one format, all of a sudden it becomes so much more manageable.
Yeah, but it's not just him, and I think that's where you realise it when you look across the board. I mean, even to some extent, Virat Kohli stepping down from some of his duties, but then obviously Ben Stokes actively saying, I need space. Chris Gale, I need space. And wasn't there a stat, I remember hearing this a while ago, that suicides in former cricket players were sky high, because obviously they're playing, then it all stops. And then basically what I'm saying is the mental health aspect to sports life is serious. And it's only now, I think, because of various factors that have changed, like you say, lockdown, and also people becoming more aware or more woke, or whatever you want to call it. They're all just realizing you need to call it before it's too late. You need to step back. Someone needs to, people need to do it. We know about pop stars, rock and roll people burning out, going crazy, losing the plot, whatever. Is this? So I wonder. I think this is long overdue. This kind of stepping back, kind of going, no, it was always an unhealthy amount. And I'm saying the same to you, Aatif, not a day off in 6 months. That's not right. It's going to take its toll.
Bro, I really love my life. This is the life I've dreamed of and wanted for such a long time. I like that every day brings something new. Like one day I can be on stage at the Glee Club. The next day I can be on the recording an interview with Moeen Ali. The next day I can be at a cricket ground commentating. The next day I can be on a podcast with an amazing dude like yourself. And tomorrow, where am I? I'm on commentary on the IPL. So, there's always so many different things going on in my life. I really love it. And you know what? Every single one of the things, and this is the thing about our lives, Tommy, you, me, all of these cool people in our fraternity, we get to do things that most people just dream about. Or it's their dream to do these things. Think about every Bollywood celebrity you've ever had a chance to have a very casual conversation with while millions of people listen. It's a dream, right? So you respect that dream. You acknowledge your privilege. In my case, you thank God every day that you've got this amazing life, this incredible opportunity, and you never ever become one of those people who say, "Oh yeah, I just say bad good. Oh man, I've got to go and talk to this guy today. I've got to talk to Brian Lara today. Oh man, seriously, what is my life? So you can't let yourself become that caricature. You have to appreciate it and enjoy it every single day because it's awesome.
But that's the whole being in the now thing, isn't it? Because it's very easy. Like now, okay, me and you are going to do this chat. Later on today, I'm hosting an IPL fan show. Then I've got to whiz up to Wolverhampton to do a corporate show. Then I've got to get back. It's my dad's 75th birthday. And it's very easy to just put these little markers in. Right, you got to be there for the BBC. You got to be there for your own personal thing. You got to be there for a comedy. And it's just run. And I think that's the fatigue bit. These guys, like you said, these cricket players, they're in their bubbles. They're going from the UAE to the UK and maybe to other places. And then it's family time. And I can tell you, I think, you're lucky there's no wife and little kids running around at the moment. I know that day is soon going to be upon us. I can feel it in the air. I can feel it. She's coming. She's out there. The stars are lighting. Look at it. Look at him shaking his head. But you know, you need to have that just imploding time. You need to have that just I'm going to do nothing time. Where do you get that little bit from then? I know you say you enjoy what you do, but I think it's really important not to do anything now and then.
Yeah, you take those little moments. You got to take them when they come. So very rarely you get a little bit of time when. In my case, I really like hanging out with my family. You know, the pandemic was the first time I really got to spend time with my parents because they live in Pakistan most of the year. You know, I was married for a while, so I didn't live with them, and you know, like, so this is the first time we've had that concentrated time together, and it's been awesome. So like now, every time I have some time, you know, I'll try and spend time with them. If I've got some time just to myself, man, I love to go hiking. That's my new kind of thing. I again discovered it in hiking. Yeah, like finding a hill and just climbing that thing, or a mountain.
I'm getting Western interference again. I think Aatif's forgotten his roots, everyone. Yeah, I know. He thinks he's going to climb mountains. No, but well, go on. So, well, where did this come from? And where's the joy in walking up a mountain? Like, because I did Snowdon recently. It's exhausting. It's exhilarating, of course, and you burn a lot of calories. That was what I quite liked about it. But you said you've got into it. How can you get into hiking?
Well, I went. So I was presenting this show on TV this summer, and as I was presenting, like my co-host, I didn't really know her very well, and we ended up just talking about mountains. And I was like, yeah, I've never actually climbed a mountain. And she said, oh, that's interesting. I've climbed like, how many is it now? 47. So 47. She's like, yeah. And then the other lady who was hosting the following day also was a mountain climber. And then I met another person the next day who was a mountain climber. And then there was a 5-day spell where every single person I seemed to speak to had just been climbing mountains. And I was just thinking, is there this secret club? Like every time I turn my back, people just go and climb mountains that I just didn't know about? Like, what's going on? So they kind of invited me to go with them up Snowdon. I'd never been to Snowdon, not even at school. So, you know, a lot of people go during school, and I don't know what happened to me during school. So I didn't go, but I went this summer, and you know, like you say, it was exhausting. You really feel it in the gorde as you're going up. I actually felt it more in the ankles when I was coming down, you know, and but I loved it. And I thought, you know what, I want to do this more and more. And then I found more places, and then now, I just came back from Portugal. I was there doing some gigs a couple of, how long ago was it? 2 weekends ago. And in between, I convinced somebody to take me to Sintra so I could climb this historical hill there as well. So I just enjoy climbing and thinking about things and taking in the views and just being grateful and, you know, like just always trying to surround yourself with some incredible visual that makes you think, wow, I mean, how wonderful is life?
See, okay. I was wondering what it was. I was wondering where does the joy lie in this? I thought, is it a perspective thing? Because obviously as a comedian, as a commentator, you're looking for a perspective, aren't you? You're looking for your angle on the action. And a mountain gives you that. A mountain gives you your perspective. I wonder whether it's a sense of achievement. Like, you know what? I climb up. I wonder if it's metaphorical. I wonder if it's spiritual, to be kind of closer to the heavens. You're trying to raise yourself up, trying to see what your joy in it lies. But I think it's a combination of all those things, and maybe that is your mind saying, I want to get away. You're zooming out above and away from Earth to go, and now I'm free of it. I can look down on it all. You can reflect on it all. It feels good. I don't know. What do you reckon?
I've been single a long time, Tommy. Like, I think if I was dating somebody, I'd tell you, oh, you know what I love doing is, like, I love going to the museums and the galleries and the dinners, you know, and the clubs and the bars and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, no, now I like mountains and solitude, and you know, you're probably picturing me sitting cross-legged on a mountain somewhere, just with my eyes closed, chanting. Yeah. Like, you know, that's not too far off nowadays.
Yeah, I would love to be walking up a mountain and just see you on the side and go, Aatif? He goes, yeah, man, just chilling. This is how I roll, just here with my little group of mountain people. I know. Listen, I appreciate first of all you making the time, because I know things are all crazy and hectic and all that. But are you cool with it? Are you all right? Are you well? I think I like to ask this question now because it's very easy, and I always think this for comedians, and of course I'm talking about myself when I say this, but I'm not hiding that people see the smile, People see the front. People see the, you know, you on telly or on radio or on a stage or somewhere. And they go, oh, he's good. You know, we can punch up to Aatif. We can say whatever we want because he's doing well and nothing will hurt him. He's thick-skinned, rhino, elephant tusk Aatif, you know. But, you know, are you okay? You mentioned, well, you mentioned being single and obviously previously married a couple of times already in the short space of time, which tells me it's there.
Just once. There in your mind. Just once.
You said no. You said I was married, and then afterwards you said I've been single a long time, and hence I love them. But now I love the mountains, or something like that. You know, so you made a couple of references to it. But it just, you know, there's some.
Oh no, as in I was married just once. Just to be back clear.
I thought you said I mentioned it just once. All right, yeah.
You made me sound like Ross from Friends.
Could you be any more like Ross? So that was an attempt at an impression. So yeah, but are you good? Be honest, and that's being real with you. You can be as real as you want.
Yeah, man. I'll be honest with you. There were some days where, you know, it was difficult. It's very difficult. I remember, like, you know, being very emotionally fragile. Well, I'll be very honest with you and candid. Like, I was like in tears on the side of the stage at the Glee Club, you know, the same Glee Club we were at on Sunday. And I remember standing by the curtain, just like, you know, just as the MCs are out to introduce me. I said, oh, welcome to the stage, Aatif Nawaz. And as he says it, the music kicks off. I'm like, you know, just like, you know, getting myself ready, giving a good old wipe, looking in that mirror and going, okay, go do your job, get on stage, big smile on my face, and just perform. And I did that. I was like that for 2 years, 2 full years.
What would trigger the tears before? Was that just anxiety building up to perform, or was that stuff going on that you're thinking
it's the personal, you know, it's the personal life stuff. You know, I had a very difficult time towards the end of my my marriage. Not to like get into it or anything, but like it was really difficult. Like 2 years I spent in like sort of emotional turmoil, but. You know, it's very true what you said, you know, behind the big smile and the big performance and everything. Oh, I have to be so, you know, happy. I love his smile. Like, people always say that. I've got a beautiful smile. People say that a lot.
Yeah.
And that's very nice of them. And I understand why they think it, because it's really well rehearsed. It's a smile I've worked on my whole life. But it's not true. It's very, like, my real smile is probably really ugly and gross. My fake smile, you know, that's good. Like, that's good. I can do it. I can hold, you know. So, I went through a tough time, man, but I'm very happy to tell you that I feel very good about my work now. I feel very present. I'd encourage anybody out that's going through something to seek out professional help. There's nothing wrong. It doesn't make you less of a person to seek out therapy and try and work through your feelings and try and be mentally happier, because the happier you are mentally, the more likely you are to be helpful to people around you. So, you know, yeah. I encourage people to do that. It was wonderful for me. So now the smile, you see, it's still good. Rehearsed, yeah. But the thing behind it is an even better smile. But that's mine.
Yeah, exactly. I saved that for when I want to look awkward and quirky, but not camera ready. But you can see that, and not only are you always kind of quite smiley, and now I'm just more aware of it. I suppose because I went through my own thing as well. And again, I'm going to admit it because you're being very open as well. I had counselling as well when I lost my job because I just didn't get it. I kept playing the same script in my head. I went, but I didn't say anything, but I didn't do anything, but I didn't say anything, but I didn't. Why has this happened? Why has this happened? And I just, boom, you can't work it out. I'm going to say something to you, which hopefully shouldn't be taken lightly. I found counselling quite self-indulgent. I quite liked it. We're going to talk about me. You know, it's like, that's my favourite subject. I can talk about me. It's like, yeah, let's talk about me and my feeling, because I spend all my life interviewing people. I'm like, oh, so I quite enjoyed the selfishness that goes with counselling. This is a terrible thing to say, but, you know, but then also what went with that is that kind of self-analysis. It's a bit like star signs, you know, like you're reading about yourself and someone's turning the mirror back on yourself. So yeah, I'm with you. I'd recommend it and I'd say go for it. But listen, enough about you and your own headspace, right? What is going on, just quickly, because we believe it or not, we haven't got that much long left of the podcast, but what is going on with the Pakistan cricket team and Pakistan in general with the whole cricket kind of organization? Because I know you love your team, and we love, as an India fan, we love the rivalry. And I've only, as you know, got into kind of cricket coverage in the last 2, 3, 4 years. So this is kind of, new to me, but I'm really feeling the, like I say, the rivalry. But because, if I'm honest, because Pakistan cricket's in a bit of a mess organisationally at the moment, I kind of want that to come good so we can get back to competing and giving it some. Do you know what I mean?
So they're not in a mess organizationally. Their cricket is fine. Their board is fine. Nobody wants to go, well, I say nobody, just New Zealand and England don't want to go to Pakistan right now. It's interesting when you think about it, because the West Indies will go to Pakistan, Zimbabwe will go to Pakistan, South Africa will go to Pakistan, Bangladesh will go to Pakistan. What do those four teams have in common, and what do England and New Zealand have in common? I'll just leave that there. But I just think, like, in terms of India and Pakistan, look, you're going to get to see them in the World T20. The sad thing is we don't get to see them play against each other anymore because of a political issue. There's no issue between the players and the boards necessarily, but the politics of it are that they don't get to play, and that sucks, because I think fans all over the world, like yourself, like me, like everybody, right? We love to watch Pakistan-India matches, and annoyingly, they just don't happen anywhere near as frequently as we'd like anymore. Because of this kind of proxy war. So I mean, that's kind of the way it is at the moment. I mean, Pakistan itself has felt quite isolated from the world of cricket. They were kind of doing favors for the rest of the world. They came to England last summer during the pandemic, spent 3 months in a bio bubble, with the expectation that England would come over and do the same thing in a much shorter 2-match tour. And they didn't, which was, like a big stab in the back. They did the same thing for New Zealand. Pakistan toured New Zealand last December in a pandemic, and had to do all the bio bubble stuff, by the way, all the isolation stuff, living in the rooms. And then these teams didn't want to come over, citing their mental health and stuff like that. And yeah, it's a bit annoying because they seem to be playing down the mental health of the Pakistani players that travel. But look, it's still, despite all of those things, Pakistani cricket's persevered. Like, they've got the national T20 going on at the moment. It's a really exciting competition. It's been broadcast really well. It's on at the same time as the IPL. Pakistanis don't get to play in the IPL, so they've got to have their own option there as well. I've heard, and I'm really excited, and I'm really hopeful that there's some movements about allowing Pakistani cricketers to play in the IPL as well. Not the other way around. I don't think Indian players will be allowed by the Indian Cricket Board to play in the PSL for the same reason they're not usually allowed to go and play anywhere else around the world, just because they like to own their players. But I've heard that this might change and we might get Pakistanis back in the IPL again. I think that'll be wonderful. That's a good start. What I really want, though, is that bilateral tour. Pakistan go to India, or India go to Pakistan, or even just come back to England and play a neutral tour here, wherever. I just want to see you play, guys. Come on, make it happen.
Make it happen. But what about all the stepping down? When I said when I meant that, the things going on behind the scenes, you're right. Players are keen, and you're right. There's no issue with players, and even with fans. I got to say this, like, there I am with Bharat Army, and if I saw you or Pakistani fans, everyone's all together. There's banter. People like you're like a stat machine. You remember stuff. Even on the blooming walk to the station from the gig on Sunday, you and Anuvab were like, yeah, but do you remember 2003 it was a Wednesday, it was 2:30 p.m. and he hit the ball, and I'm like, how do you do this? Like, I can't remember what happened yesterday, let alone, years ago. But by the way, on that note, one of the stats you dropped to me, you went, Tommy, it's quite a unique stat. I hope you don't mind me sharing this. You went, I think I'm one of the top 9 people in the country. 9, not 10. You didn't say 10. You said I'm one of the top 9 people in the country who knows stats about India, right? You went, so it's like almost like if you were on Mastermind, there'd be 8 people ahead of you that could beat you potentially, and after that, everyone else not.
In the UK. In the UK.
Okay, in the UK. I love, but the fact that you said 9, it made me laugh, because like, he's counted the people that, he probably knows more than me. Yeah, he probably knows more than me. And no, after that, I've got it covered. So you've got, sorry, my point was, you've got a love for all cricket, and there is no rivalry on the grassroots with players and fans. This is just somewhere else. This exists with the powers that be. To sort this out.
It's a political thing, man. I mean, if you want to look for fans of Virat Kohli, you got to go to Lahore in Pakistan. If you want to find people who tell you all about their appreciation for Rahul Dravid, you got to go to Karachi. There's a huge. And, oh, by the way, if you want to find the biggest collection of Shoaib Akhtar fans in the world, then you've got to go and hang out in Mumbai, specifically outside Kapil Sharma's studio. Like, people adore these cricketers across each other's borders. Like, the kind of heavy right-wing stuff you see is just a minority. Annoyingly, it's the vocal minority. So you hear them and you see them, and it's big money for news channels to put that on. And I really think, I think India and Pakistan would both be better off if like 90% of the news channels just disappeared tomorrow. Like, you don't really need like 80 news channels. I don't know what's going on over there, but I would just like to, I'd like to see it happen. I'd like to see that cross-country relationship more and more. I think we all would, but like, it's such an easy place for politicians to go, to just like make the other one the enemy. And then, and in the end, who loses out? It's just the people who enjoy the crossovers. They lose out. People who like to see Fawad Khan in Bollywood films, they lose out, right? So, or Fawad Alam playing cricket in England, in India. So yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. I think the best bet for us in the future is a bilateral tour on neutral soil. It would be nice. But the thing is, the truth is, India has the power in this relationship. The Indian Cricket Board is responsible, and BCCI is responsible for something like 80% of cricket's revenue globally. So they have an immense amount of power. It's kind of, it falls onto them to lead these things, and everybody sort of follows. I think they've kind of cultivated really interesting rivalries with Australia and England, and people like watching them, and people like watching India play against anybody, to be fair. But Pakistan, they're trying to do their own thing as well, just because they know they can't rely on each other as much. So I don't know, Tommy. I don't know what the future's like, but I watch everything. I keep across everything. I love cricket. I don't like, if you pinned me down and said, what's your team? I'd tell you Pakistan. But I liked Pakistan, the cricket team, before I even knew what Pakistan, the country, was, right? I didn't have the concept of countries. I just liked that team. I liked Imran Khan. I liked Wasim Akram. I liked Amir Sahel. Those are the players that I gravitated towards. I like the lime green kit. That was the kit that attracted me the most. But Pakistan could be in Zimbabwe for all I knew. It's just it just struck a chord with me. But I genuinely love all cricket, and I genuinely love the sport of cricket, and I don't. I like that's why I love these games between these random European countries. I want that game to keep spreading. And and women's cricket as well, obviously. Like, I love that that's proliferating more and more and more. There's big superstars in India and Pakistan as well now. So I'm really I love all cricket, man. 9th most Indian stuff in England. Yes.
Exactly. In the UK, I want to find. I've now got to get the other 8 people on the podcast. Just going to go. So, how's it feel being head of Aatif Nawaz in the cricket poll?
You can start with Abhishek Binjanwala.
Knowledge. But this is the thing that I was going to get to. Wasim Khan stepped down. Waqar Younis, bowling coach, obviously stepped down. The head coach stepped down. So if we're saying there's nothing going on in the teams, why is that happening? Look, and I don't know the politics behind it and all that. So educate me.
So I mean, we'll see. Let's start with Misbah Younis, Waqar Younis. They've been kind of rumored to be on their way out for a long time. Misbah's strategies as a coach have been questioned even by his most fervent, most loyal supporter. He's just been, he's used this huge pool of players, doesn't have too much to show for it. He was a great captain, but I think his goodwill in that setup was kind of disappearing a little bit. So I think he also spent a lot of time in bio bubbles this year, and he was tested positive for COVID in the West Indies, so he had to spend a week in isolation. I suspect he was thinking more and more about his future. Now, the big change in Pakistani cricket recently is that Ramiz Raja has become the chairman. Now, Ramiz Raja, 1992 World Cup winner, the voice of Pakistani cricket. He's commentated on, most of Pakistani cricket for the last sort of 20 odd years. So, he's associated in a very public way with Pakistani cricket. Now he's become the chairman. The previous chairman was Ehsan Mani, and I don't think anybody ever saw Ehsan Mani. You very rarely saw him. It was Wasim Khan, the CEO, who was giving all the.
I know everyone used to say, "Show me the money."
Yeah, and you never did. No,
you never did.
Apparently, money talks, but I've never seen it happen. So I don't know. We saw Wasim Khan everywhere, and now I guess because there's Ramiz Raja, you don't need a Wasim Khan and a Ramiz Raja. Ramiz has quite a pragmatic and somewhat aggressive approach at top. It's not for everyone. I don't think people necessarily want to be involved. He had some very strong words for the English Cricket Board and the New Zealand Cricket Board after they pulled out, whereas Wasim Khan was a little bit more diplomatic. I'm not saying one is right and one is wrong. I'm just saying they're both very different. So maybe they weren't going to coexist there. So Pakistan have made a really bizarre choice. Their next coaches are going to be Matthew Hayden and Vernon Philander. Like, that's weird. It's even weirder when you consider that Matthew Hayden is currently commentating at the IPL, and his next gig is coaching Pakistan in the World T20. What does his CV look like? What does his LinkedIn page look like? I mean, that's just weird.
It's like I worked there for a week. I was there for 2 months. It's bitty. I think if I was an employer, I'd read into that CV and go, "Do you have a trouble kind of committing to one job? You're jumping around a lot. It's too much."
But from India to Pakistan, that lateral move, like not a lot of. There can't be many people who've gone from commentating on Indian cricket to coaching Pakistan. I don't think anybody's ever done that before.
No, it's a leap. So what? So overall, where's your head at with Team Pakistan? Are we, obviously there's lots of shaking around going around with the team management, or the people running it. But what's going on? Is it in a good place, bad place?
It's not. I mean, it's an unfortunate place. I mean, the team is fine. Like, but when you look at the 11 players that are on the field, like I for one have no issue with any of them. The 16 that are in the squad, the 20 odd that play all the formats, like it is fine. They're totally fine. The annoying thing for them is, of course, they were supposed to have 15 matches of practice ahead of the World T20, and now they're likely to have 3. So that's not great. I don't like that. This is a thing about South Asian people as well, Tommy. Like, we put so much pressure on our teams. Like, New Zealand and England pulled out, and like they were like, "Oh, iska jawab hum pitch pe denge, maidane jang mein denge." Like, it's like you've turned everything into like a revenge movie starring, Sunny Deol. So it's not that simple. Like, don't put that much pressure on these players. They're already working as hard as they can, and they don't have the best preparation. So obviously, I'd love to see them win the World T20, but from my perspective, I think it's going to be difficult considering their lack of prep. I think, it's hard to look past India. It's hard to look past the West Indies. And it's very hard to look past England, whose players will have more practice in those conditions as well with the IPL. So if Pakistan do win, it will be a big surprise to me. And yeah, that's just me being honest.
But a very welcome surprise. But it could. What I think, if they did win, then what that should do for the Pakistan cricket team and their perception by others, it should hopefully then open things up. Or even if they get to the final. Even if they get to the final and lose just to India, then everyone's happy. And we can
in 2007.
I could talk to you about so many things. And I just want you to know that I love you, man, and I really do. I think you're awesome. We have a great laugh together. I have great chats with you. I don't see you nearly enough. I feel like I hadn't seen you for a few years, particularly because of lockdown and everything else. But it's nice, you just get good vibes around someone, and that's why I wanted to get you on. So thank you for making the time.
Can I just before you tell me on my way, I just got to tell this story about the first time I met you, and it was, I think, 2014. In one of the buildings in town, and you were hosting a radio show, and it was a breakfast show. And again, not unlike today, you made me get up super early in the morning, although that was radio. That was like 6 o'clock in the morning, right?
Sorry.
And I had to do a show at Leicester Square Theatre in London. I was promoting it, and it was called Talk Roti to Me at the time, right? And you, as I came on the show, like you had written your own version of your adjacent Rulo track called Talk Dirty to Me. You'd written it, and that was the same for me. Like, that was the part of my show. I'd written the thing. So I was like, oh, that, like, you wrote one, and then you did it, and then you were like, oh, have you done yours? I'm like, yeah. So I did it, and you were like, oh, yours is really good. And I think you felt bad that you kind of stepped on my joke.
I did,
but
I didn't, because I didn't know that was part of the show, and I just heard Talk Rotted to Me.
Yeah.
You wanna. I just did my version, but then I realized you had a proper version that you.
Well, I wrote it. I recorded it even. I went through the whole 5 yards, or the whole 9 yards even. So anyway, like, yeah, I think you felt bad, and then you actually came down with 3 members of your show. You came down to Leicester Square Theatre. You sat in the front row, and you were just so kind and supportive. Because like a lot of people at the time were giving it all the lip service about, oh yeah, we support Asian performers or Desi performers in the UK and blah blah blah. But you literally put your money where your mouth was. Turned up to Leicester Square Theatre, sat in the front row of my comedy show, even bantered with me, but even recorded a little feedback clip, about the show. And I've never forgotten that, man. I will always appreciate that level of support you just showed me. You didn't know me. You just met me for 20 minutes and you were like, you know what? I need to go and show this guy my support. That's the level, I always will remember and appreciate that, Tommy, because you're a good guy.
Thank you very much. That means that I tell you what, I started that show in 2010. So 2014, I can tell you now, my life would have been a blur. It was all a blur. Like we had Milo, my oldest, at 2012. After that, me and my wife even said those few years were just blurry, tired, running, catch up. So I'm surprised I made it to a show in the evening, number one. But I do remember being at the show. But I'll tell you why, Aatif. It's because funny is funny. Good is good. Yeah. Entertaining is entertaining. Great cricket is great cricket. Kindness is kindness. You don't have to be Pakistani, Indian, white, black, brown, or anything. It's just, we particularly, I think us as performers, we pick up on, like, I know it sounds all kind of cheesy, but soul, spirit, energy, vibe. It's all those words, and there's there's a vibe about you. There is a warmth about you. And I know there's a niceness about who's it? Nabil Abdul Rashid, Britain's Got Talents. Nabil Abdul Rashid was telling me, he goes, Aatif Nawaz could possibly be too nice. He goes, he could possibly be too not like, and he goes, I told him, you need to be a bit tougher. You need to be. Did he say that to you, by the way? Was this true? Or then he might have just.
He tells me this all the time.
Yeah.
But I think when he's saying too nice, he means like I'm just a bit easy to negotiate with. So somebody will be like, "Oh, come do this gig for like a $5, Aatif," and I'll just like, "Oh, go on."
Okay. Yeah, exactly. You're like, come on. He's like, get tough. But that's always the way. When you see someone so nice, you're like, you want to step in for them. And I think everyone's got that vibe about you. There is a brotherliness to you. There is the smile about you and all those things. So it's lovely. Thank you for the mutual love. Let's keep the relationship going. I should hopefully see you all throughout all the cricket action that we're both going to be across on our own sides. But there'll always be a jappi for you from the Bharat Army and Team India fans and wherever I am. I'm telling you, I want you in the bosom of it all. I want you right in the mix of it, dancing around with us. So let's make that happen next time we're together in the stadium. Deal?
I can't wait, bro. I can't wait to see you again. Look after yourself. I love you, bro.
Thank you, man. Before you go, have you hit subscribe to the podcast yet? Have you done that? You should. Have you also started following the Tommy Sandhu podcast on social media? That's on Instagram, on Twitter, and on Facebook as well. Do it! Do it! Because then, when those annoying little notifications pop up with the random stuff that you've agreed to let into your life. Okay, delete those. Let some Tommy Sandhu joy in. I'm going to be talking to the good people. I'm going to be having some fun chats. Why not have those on a daily basis and get the notifications as well? All you got to do is hit subscribe and like and follow, and it's free. It's free. It's our favorite word. Asians love free. Say it. It's free. Oh, it feels good. Go on, do it now.